And we welcome you to Rustler Field on the campus of Golden West College. As today, SportsNetUSA.net presents Golden West Rustler football. Today, the 3-3 Rustlers play host to the 5-1 Tigers of Riverside City College. A great Saturday afternoon to you wherever you are. Rahshaun Haylock alongside Ryan Osborn and Ed Ford manning the controls. Big conference game. Both these teams come into here with the record of 1-0 in Southern Conference play on the season. Ryan Osborn, and this is a Riverside team led by a Hall of Famer, and they're ranked number 3 in the state.
And you know what? You look at Riverside, their only loss so far this season was to the number 2 team in the country, number 1 in state, Fullerton College, and by just 1 point, 34-33. In fact, Fullerton had to come from behind in that game to take down Riverside, and ever since then, they have been on an absolute tear coming up to this one.
Tyler Kennedy and Tyrone Marshall back to receive for Riverside. The Rustlers will be kicking it off. It is off the foot of Fisher, and we're underway here in Huntington Beach. As that one goes through the back of the end zone, it'll be a touchback, and Riverside will have it 1st and 10 from its own 25-yard line. New quarterback this season for the Riverside Tigers, even though their old quarterback is there. More on that in a moment, but Stone Smart, 6'5", 220-pound sophomore out of Del Oro High School up north. Bounced back from Northern Arizona, completing 67% of his passes on the season, 15 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions, but he can also run it as well. 323 yards on the ground for Smart this season, as they start with 4 wide receivers. Smart out of the gun on 1st and 10. Smart with time, and he's dangerous with these legs, and there he goes, as he's able to scramble just shy of the 35-yard line, and he picks up 7 there on 1st down. It's a Riverside team that likes to go tempo. They will try to hurry it up as much as possible. Smart play fake out to the far side. Pass is caught on that far sideline. It's going to be a 1st down for the Tigers. That catch made over there by Quavon Beckford, freshman wide receiver out of Miami Northwestern High School. 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. Smart, design run on a quarterback draw, and Smart to the 2nd level, and he gets it up to the 44-yard line. Tackle on the play made there by David Aldapa. This is a Rustler defensive unit that is banged up on so many levels, primarily the defensive line and in the secondary as well. Another run here, this time to the back though, straight through. Another 1st down and just shy of midfield.
And Rahshaun, you could argue that this defensive front hasn't really been whole ever since game 2 of the season when Jason Fuga went down with an injury, and then all of a sudden the dominoes started falling.
Yeah, absolutely. No Jalen Harrington. Remember, he got hurt before the bye week in the game at Canyons on that defensive line, and a nice pass batted away at the line of scrimmage. Looked like that was big 73, Myron Iava, getting his big paws on that one. Brings up a 2nd down, and that stops the pace for Riverside here just for a little bit. Stephen Cruz, Myron Iava, VJ Malo, and Paka Kakulidis, who was sensational last week in getting the start, making the 2nd straight start here this week for the Rustlers. 2nd and 10 from the 49. They give it to Walker. He's the 1st man through, and he's stuffed. Big time run stuff there by the Rustlers. Wolf Retzlaff there, also Malo in there on the stop. Malo with a big game last week as well against OCC, as the Rustlers are able to win the Bell for the 8th time in the last 9 years. No gain on the play. 3rd down and 10 coming up here for Riverside.
That brings up 3rd down and 10.
Aldapa and Retzlaff, the linebackers. Here's Smart out of the gun. Smart with time. Smart buying time. Over the middle, caught. Is going to be another 1st down inside of Rustler territory. Pass caught by Quincy Wimbush. the the running back coming out of the backfield that time. And it's a first down for Riverside. It's a very potent offensive unit for Riverside. Of course, you wouldn't expect nothing less coming from the Hall of Famer and Tom Kraft. Is a nice spin move by Winbish in the backfield. And he's able to carry that one for 8. Second down coming, just under 12.5 to play here from Rustler Field on Breast Cancer Awareness Day here in Surf City. Second down and 4, they're calling it. Smart over the middle, has a man, end zone, touchdown Riverside. Jamal Houston with his 3rd touchdown grab of the season, and it's quickly 6-0 Riverside.
And you look at that route that Houston runs, he ends up shaking off his defender with a quick, just a little 5-yard quick and go, and he ends up going towards the post and just slides right underneath that football and hauls it in. He had no one within 5 yards.
And your impression of Stone Smart that first drive?
Absolutely terrific. His vision was really good, especially on those designed runs. He did a great job of looking off the Rustler defense and those linebackers to open up a little bit more space for himself.
Yeah, he certainly looked good. Smart, that his 16th touchdown of the season. Talked about that beleaguered secondary, actually playing with more players in the defensive backfield, the Rustlers are.
They're debating right now what to do.
Appeared to be going with more of a 4-2-5 on that opening drive. Saw some of that against OCC last week as well, with Retzlaff and Aldapa being the 2 linebackers. As the kick is up and through for Riverside, and the score is 7-0. John Garibay there on the point after attempt. 12:03 to play here, first quarter. It's the game last season that went down to the wire, and controversial call snatched victory right out of the hands of the Rustlers up in Riverside a season ago. That was a non-conference game. This year, the Tigers have moved from the Central Conference and into the Southern Conference to join the Rustlers. Part of some shifting going on in the SCFA over this last offseason. Riverside in, Fullerton out. You also add San Diego Southwestern to the mix as Palomar leaves the conference as well. So still 2 San Diego teams as Grossmont remains. As this kickoff is going to take a high bounce at the 10 and carry into the end zone. Bo Kalbacher looked a little bit more like himself last week. 289 yards and helping 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, 17-29, and helping the Rustlers secure the bell a week ago. And he went the distance too. Did not see Nate Espinoza last week. Rustlers have been shifting quarterbacks for the majority of the season up to that point, but it was Kalbacher going the distance. And he will bring the offense onto the field to start this one. Noticeably missing on that offensive line, Kobe Clayton. He went down late in that game last week against OCC. He is out of the lineup. Banged up, but in the lineup is Adrian Montez, who did not play last week. 7-0 our score here. They give it to Sashi Penn on an end around, and Penn is going to be taken down for a loss. Montez slow to get up on that last play. So the offensive line, Adrian Montez, Jacob Beckler, who moves from center to left guard, Roman Neomata, who moves from left guard to center, and on the right side, Genesis Ofagalilo and Spencer Blake. No Braylon Mouton today, talented wide receiver out of the lineup. Rustlers hope to get him back soon. Ratzlaff, Sashi Penn, Atencio, Jonathan Earl, the usual suspects for the Rustlers. Of course, Expect to see some Darius Maxwell, some Ahmad Dorsey as well. Jeremiah Wright had a touchdown last week also. Here is Kalbacher on 2nd down to Atencio. Atencio barely passed the original line of scrimmage, brings up a 3rd down and 8. Atencio led the team in catches last week, had 7 in the win against OCC for 42 yards, and he was going up against his brother Gasper Atencio, who's a defensive back for that OCC team. Gasper also played his high school ball at Edison. And talking to Bubba Gonzalez last week, the head coach at OCC, the brothers are fired up to play one another. And Atencio, he did all the leg work, but there were others that caught the touchdowns last week. But Atencio led the team in receptions. It's 3rd and 8 from the 27. Dwayne Roper in there in the backfield. Kalbacher takes it, nearly picked off, nearly caught. Is it caught? No. They say incomplete. It was a sensational effort there that time by Jonathan Earl, as he was able to catch that one falling out of bounds, but they say he was already out.
And the reason why he's out is because as he's leaning over the sideline trying to control that ball, he finally does haul it in, but by the time he hauls it in, his legs are no longer on the floor. So he's out of bounds, and it's an incomplete pass.
Short possession there for the Rustlers. Short in terms of didn't get any first downs and didn't take off too much time off the clock. Here's Fisher on the punt. It was Anthony Trevino doing a lot of the punting last week. This one takes the returner back to the 15. Now coming back and trying to reverse fields is Kennedy, but he was corralled there. Nice job by Kramer and Aldapa. Take a look at Earl and Dorsey also in there on the special teams for Golden West. I bring up the time of possession in week 1 right here at Rustler Field against Fullerton. Rustlers held the ball for 37 minutes, and that was by design. They need to have a huge edge in time of possession here today if you figure to try to slow down this Riverside offense.
Well, and that's one of the strategies that you can use to slow down a high-tempo offense. If you keep the ball yourself, they don't have a chance to work.
Here's Smart, empty backfield. Pressure coming, but Smart over the middle, and a big-time hit by Wolf Retzloff dislodges the ball there, and it's incomplete.
Justin Parker also there as well.
They go 4 wide this time. Smart on 2nd and 10, and that one incomplete. So consecutive drops here for Riverside. That one was dropped by Dumar Fisher, the backup tailback. And it brings up a 3rd down and 10 from the 28. Under 10 to play here first quarter. Riverside with the ball and a 7-point lead. Four wide on 3rd and 10. Smart over the middle, throws it low, but it's dug up and caught. Nice job there by Almont Smith. Gets just past the sticks for a pickup of 13 and a 1st down for Riverside. Beautiful ball, beautiful catch there from Smart to Smith. And it's a 1st down for Riverside at their own 42-yard line. 9:35 left, first quarter. They go to the ground on 1st down, and that push is able to get the play across the 45-yard line. That's Malik Walker getting the carry there for Riverside. 2nd down and 6 as the tempo increases here. They go to the ground one more time. Walker starts and stops and runs right into Al Sherman, who wrestles him to the turf right at midfield. 3-yard pickup brings up a 3rd down and 3 as the tempo increases here. Right back to Walker, up the middle, across the sticks, and another 1st down. Inside of Rustler territory now. 1st down and 10 from the 47 of Golden West.
On the 47-yard line.
Back to the ground game. Wimbush with a crease. Wrestled down by Parker in the secondary. but ahead to the 31-yard line, 16-yard pickup, and don't think this Tigers offense is going to slow down. Not one bit. Here they go again. Stick's not even set up yet, and they go to Wimbush again. Wimbish. Another nice carry across the 25 and down at the 24-yard line. 7-yard pickup, brings up a 2nd down and 3.
And you look at each one of these runs, Rahshaun, for Wimbush, they're all off tackle to the right-hand side. And so far, Golden West just hasn't been able to adjust to it.
Sophomore out of Marietta Valley, Quincy Wimbush. Smart going to take it himself. Design run. Smart gets it to the outside. A late flag comes in as Smart gets out of bounds at the 14-yard line. But we have our first flag of the game. It's going to be a hold against Riverside. Our officials today are white hat Preston Clipper, the umpire Scott Carroll, the head linesman John O'Connor, the line judge Dominique Valdez, Cornelius Holloman is the field judge, the side judge Matthew Starr, and the back judge Mark Hawby. Spot of foul penalty. Second and 13 after the flag. Move the ball back to the 34-yard line of the Rustlers. Made a couple changes on that defensive line. Trying to get some fresh bodies in there is Nick Mitchell. Smart, play fake. That play broke down and Smart goes down. David Aldapo on the sack. Huge loss there.
The reason why it breaks down is because Wimbush and Smart weren't on the same page. Wimbush goes out into the flat left-hand side, doesn't wait for the handoff attempt, and Smart is sticking there with the football, wondering where his running back is.
3rd and 28 from the 49-yard line. Smart with time, comes near side, pass is caught, but not nearly enough for a first down. The pass was hauled in there by DeQuante Showers. He got out of bounds at the 38-yard line. So it brings up a 4th and long. And we can see our first punt of the afternoon from Riverside. Garibay also handles the punting duties for the Tigers, averaging 39 yards per attempt. He delivers that one, tries to angle it towards the sideline, but gets over that goal line, and it'll be a touchback for the Rustlers. Don't forget, Golden West football right here on SportsNetUSA.net. It's brought to you in part by Miller Toyota of Anaheim, where service and parts is open 7 days a week for your convenience. Located at the 91 and Euclid, and on the web at MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and education. 6:20 to play here, first quarter. Rahshaun Haylock alongside Ryan Osborn, Ed Ford manning the controls, and big drive coming up here for the Rustlers. Already down 7-0 in this one. I think the last thing you can afford is another 3 and out. Defense has been on the field a ton already here in this first quarter. 1st and 10 from the 20. Play fake over the middle, and there goes Ratzliff. Ratzliff nearly tackled from behind, still on his feet. A big boy stiff for him at the 20 and take it down inside the 15. Big time game for the sophomore out of San Diego. And the sophomore says, I'm eating. It's lunchtime, big fella. Let's go. 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line.
And you like Ratzliff's light feet as he's moving up the field, because he had a tackle that he broke out of right around the 40-yard line, and he keeps his feet light, keeps his feet moving, and is able to get 30 more.
68 yards on the pickup. Roper, big time hit, ball's out, and it's scooped up by Riverside.
That is Vic Viramontes.
Vic Viramontes, last season's state offensive player of the year at quarterback, transferred to Minnesota, was there for spring ball, came back to Riverside, said, hey, Coach Kraft, I think I want to play linebacker. Kraft says, of course, it may be your most natural position, and here he is now, the team's leading tackler, and picks up a huge fumble recovery for the Tigers and returns it to the 37-yard line. Wow. Huge momentum shifter there as Roper coughed that one up. 1st and 10, Riverside from its own 37-yard line. Smart back to work. Smart delivers it. I don't know how he got that one off, as all breathing down his neck that time was Baldwin Wilson. Surprised Wilson wasn't able to get a hand on that one.
Going back to that forced fumble, it was Kobe Fitzgerald who ends up getting the stat there as he goes right into Roper.
And my apologies, that's Kevin Miminger there on the hurry for the Rustlers. As another first down here for the Tigers.
Pass is complete. Another first down for Riverside. It'll bring up 1st and 10.
Making another catch there that time was Beckford. 1st and 10 right at midfield. Smart going to keep it himself, and Smart taken down in the backfield. Designed run there. Steven Cruz and VJ Malo combining on the stop. As we're under 4.5 to play. Loss of 1, 2nd and 11 from the Tiger 49-yard line. Are you kidding me? What a change in momentum there. My goodness.
Well, you go from an over 60-yard pickup all of a sudden to you see that ball pop out, pop loose after you have that huge play.
You're knocking on the doorstep. You can almost taste 7. Instead, here's Smart going back to work, trying to make this a 14-point lead. His baseball slide near the 40-yard line. He took off from the 42, so that's where they'll mark him down, and brings up a 3rd down and short. And you can see a bunch of hands on the hips of Rustler players on that defense. They have been on the field a ton here in this first quarter. Riverside ran 90 plays last week against Grossmont. And I'm not sure they got the first down here on the run. They went to Wimbush. The defensive line was there. Malo looked like the first to get to him. It brings up a 4th down. 4th and about inches here, but Tom Kraft keeping the offense on the field. They go back to Wimbush, and this time he gets the first down as he sneaks, barely got across that first down line. Kramer on the stop. Steven Cruz there as well for the Rustlers as we approach 3 to play here in this first quarter. As you see, the Rustlers continue to try to shuffle guys in and out on the defensive line. Big Myron Iava back in there. Arredondo checks in as well on that left side. Low snap taken by Smart. Over the middle, caught once again. A crossing route there for the Tigers as they're just chipping away a little bit at a time. Tyler Kennedy making the grab there, pickup of 8. 2nd down and 2 from the 32-yard line of Golden West. Not really any explosive plays from Riverside here. They're just kind of dinking and dunking in this first quarter. But that, you know, that amounts to, Ryan Osborn, a lot of plays, and you can already see the heavy breathing by this Rustler defense. 2nd and 2 from the 32. Play fake. Smart all kinds of time. Has Iava at his legs and gets away. Smart in the open field. A 1st down and more as he gets ahead to the 26-yard line. How big Myron Iava couldn't grab an ankle or a toe or a shoelace or something is beyond me.
And you know what? You talk about a lot of plays last year. I was part of that Fullerton broadcast team, and the offensive coordinator there said he wanted 90. The most he got was 94.
Here's Walker as he tries to crawl back to the original line of scrimmage. Lost the ball at the end of the play, but he was already down.
And when you think about plays in terms of over 80 to 90 different plays, you're looking at a defense and saying, hey, can you play 3/4 of this game? Do you mind doing that? That's a tough grab for any defense to try to do in the entire nation, let alone going against the number 3 team in state.
I mean, you know what you're signing up for, right? When this game is on the schedule, you just hope to be at full strength when it happens, knowing even then it's going to be an uphill battle. Wimbush gets the carry up the gut. Wimbush, nice move in the second level, a first down at the 15-yard line, a pickup of 11 as we approach a minute to play. Riverside knocking on the door, trying to make this a 2-possession lead here in this first quarter. Stone Smart, the engineer of this offense, the bounce back from Northern Arizona. In full command here of this offense, with that last play coming back, going to be an illegal motion against Riverside. So the explanation, not everyone set before the ball was snapped. Smart appeared in 9 games last season for Northern Arizona. Was the backup quarterback, appeared in 2 state championships here for Del Oro, ended up winning one in 2015 against Camarillo. Here he is on 2nd and 13, over the middle, almost picked off. That one deflected right off of the hands of the linebacker, Jacob Hanley. Haven't called his name in quite a while, but Hanley could have turned this one right back around for the Rustlers. Instead, it falls incomplete, 3rd and 13.
Both he and Ryan Raines were in the vicinity, and that's just a tough one once again for Golden West. They're just this close from that big play happening.
A day late, dollar short. Don't really amount to much, Ryan Osborn. 3rd and 14. Empty set. Pressure coming from behind, and Smart goes down. Coming off the edge was Justin Parker in the backfield once again. The defensive back comes up with the big-time sack there, and Parker actually had a couple of TFLs last week, and I had to check the box score twice. I was like, wait, really? Did 9 get in the backfield that much last week against OCC? He did, and he comes up the big sack there, brings up a 4th down and 20, and the punting unit enters the field for Riverside. Looks like the Tigers may be content with just allowing the clock to run out here on this first quarter, and it does. So after 1, Riverside 7, Golden West nothing, as you're watching Rustler football right here on SportsNetUSA.net. Rahshaun Haylock alongside Ryan Osborn. Ed Ford manning the controls here from Surf City, USA, as the Rustlers saw Riverside score on its opening drive. Tried to come back with a big-time 68-yard reception from callbacker to Rotsliff. And on the very next play, Dwayne Roper fumbled it. It was picked up by Vic Viramontes. Riverside put together a drive of its own, but it was just stalled thanks to a penalty from Riverside and also a big-time 3rd down sack from Justin Parker. And that takes us to where we stand right now as we start the second quarter. 4th down and 20 for Riverside from their 37 of Golden West. Atencio standing on his own 10. Now, I'll tell you what, Ryan Osborn, he needs to park right there. If that ball goes over his head, he just watches it go. Maybe a deke, maybe throw up a fair catch or something, but need to watch that one like many folks out here going to be watching the air show later today. 4th and 20. Garibay, low snap, takes it off a bounce, tries to coffin corner this thing, and not as much distance as he would like. Gets it inside the 20 though, however, so that pads the stats a little bit, but not deep inside the 10 where I'm sure he was aiming for. So back comes the Rustler offensive unit. So maybe a little bit of a sigh of relief there. You escape danger somewhat, but not out of the woods yet if you're this Rustler.
It looked like the ball went out at the 14, 15-yard line.
Wow. All right. Well, that's cool. We're playing ball anyway. Swain in there at a tailback. Kalbacher 1st and 10 from his own 10. They roll the pocket. Kalbacher looking for Dorsey, finds him. And he's pushed out of bounds after a pickup of 3. So Nick Figueroa, the stud defensive lineman for Riverside, gets tagged with a roughing the passer, so add 15 to that and a first down for the Rustlers. It's a little more breathing room here as this one moves up to the 29-yard line. Oh, let's call it the 30.
Nick Figueroa, Caleb Fitzgerald, and Jose Ramirez are the 3 down linemen for Riverside.
I tell you, you better watch 99. He is a good one. Nick Figueroa leads this team in TFLs and sacks, has 6.5 of them on the season. Swain gets the carry up the gut and hit immediately. Maybe a pickup of 1 there. Kobe Fitzgerald in there on the stop for Riverside, the freshman out of nearby Servite.
4 linebackers are Kue Olatola, Jalen Bowens, in addition to the one and only Vic Viramontes and Kobe Fitzgerald as well.
Very deep team Riverside is defensively, but you can move against them and you can pass against them, as Kalbacher showed with that big connection to Ratzliff in the first quarter. 2nd and 8. Comes back this side to Ratzliff again, who's pushed out of bounds on the catch, but he gets out at about the 40 and close to a first down. Let's see, the sticks are, and now they move the sticks, so it is going to be a first down. And this is what you have to do if you're the Rustlers. You gotta get little chunk yards here and there, but you see them huddling, you see them trying to change that time of possession toward their favor. 1st and 10 from the 39. Low snap, Swain off the right side. I think Kalbacher wanted to keep that one himself on the zone read, but Swain unrelenting and picks up 1.
Swain on the carry, picked up about a yard.
It's important for us to watch what happens at center. Roman Niamata, the new center this week for the Rustlers, as he and Jacob Beckler basically switch positions. Beckler now in there at a left guard. Snaps have been something to watch all season long for these Rustlers. 2nd and 9. Kalbacher over the middle and incomplete. Penn, the intended receiver, but closer than Penn were 3 guys in white unis. Brings up 3rd down.
It'll be 3rd down.
Eric Wilson, Christian Swint, in addition to Tyler Kennedy, also joined by Deshaun Neal. Those are the 4 defensive backs in this Riverside lineup. And that was in the direction of Swint till, if he was just a couple more steps up, would have had an easy pick.
Rustlers 41% on 3rd down this season entering this game. Pressure coming, need a big one here, and it is one. Complete to Ratzliff across midfield. 1st down, Golden West. 12-yard pickup.
You look at Ratzliff as he goes out and runs his route. He goes just past the yardstick and then just camps out there, waits for that pass. You have to love that field awareness, knowing exactly where he needed to run his route to in order to pick up the 1st down.
1st and 10 from the Riverside 49-yard line. Swain in there in the backfield and gets the carry. Actually, Kalbacher keeps it himself, but he lost it. Johnny on the spot, Sashi Penn recovers the fumble at the 45-yard line.
I don't think a bounce can get more fortuitous than that one, as it went directly into the hands of Sashi Ben.
My goodness, are you kidding me? I mean, nobody in this arena expects Kalbacher to be running the ball. Just got to hold on to it, Bo. Had a chance to talk to Bo's dad a little bit before the game. Bo's dad just as concerned about the offense as the rest of you Rustler fans out there. Kalbacher, second down. This one picked off. And there goes Riverside.
That's going to be Deshaun Neal.
Neal gets it to the 23-yard line of Golden West. Second turnover of this half for the Rustlers, and it's a huge one.
You talk about that, Rahshaun. I mean, 2 straight times that there's been a big drive, a big play that the Rustlers go on offense. All of a sudden it gets taken away, just ripped away from them.
So first and 10, Riverside. Ground game. Miles McCord in there on the stop. As Fisher getting the carry there for a couple. He gets it up to the 20-yard line. Pick up 3 there. Second down and 7. Clearly some miscommunication there on that interception. Second and 7. Fisher in the backfield, and Fisher stays in the backfield. V.J. Malo with the TFL. So another penalty against Riverside, going to be declined by the Rustlers. So it brings up a 3rd down and 10 after that TFL there by Malo. Fisher in the backfield. The wide receiver split to the bottom of your screen is Tyler Kennedy. In the slot is Beckford. 2 receivers to the top of your screen. One of them is the dangerous Tyrone Marshall. Smart dumps it off. Fisher catches it out of the backfield. He's tackled from behind by Aldapa, and he got right near the sticks. Let's see, maybe just shy of that 1st down marker, about a yard shy, actually. So just short. So 1st down saving tackle there by Aldapa, and enter John Garibay. So Garibay handles the punting and the kicking. 5 of 7 on the season. His longest 27. This one from 31, and he splits the uprights. So 10-0 Riverside. 9 minutes to play, 2nd quarter. As you're watching Golden West Rustler football right here on SportsNetUSA.net. Man, you talk about this defense. Ryan Osborn, and yeah, that first drive, they pretty much got picked apart a little bit. Tempo got to them a little bit as well, but off of 2 turnovers, put in some tough spots, they only give up 3.
Well, not to mention, as you said, tough spots. You look at where the field position has been for Riverside after those turnovers. They've gotten short fields both times. And yet this Golden West defense has held them not only out of the end zone, but outside the 15-yard line.
Yeah, that first turnover, Riverside took over on its own 37, but that was basically 2 plays after a long offensive drive that the Rustler defense had to be out there for. And then this one, they had it deep in Rustler territory, as Coos Ford has some problems handling this kick, but falls on top of it, and it'll be a touchback for the Rustlers. Next week, Golden West will be right back here at Rustler Field for the home season finale. Sophomore day, as they'll take on Saddleback. 1 p.m. kickoff right here on SportsNetUSA.net. Of course, we'll have all the action for you right here on your home of Golden West football, SportsNetUSA.net. Enter Nate Espinoza, the new quarterback for the Rustlers. The freshman out of Corona Del Mar. Did not play last week, but he's in there this week, makes his first appearance here in the second quarter. And look at him to do just that. Keep it and use his legs. As he does, he takes it off the left side. And he picks up about 3 there, 3.5.
Brings up second and 7.
Edward Calhoun in there on the stop for the Tigers. Two backs for the first time this afternoon. You got Roper and Swain back there. This time the give goes to Roper. And Roper taken down for a loss. And Viramontes, the talented linebacker. Actually, they give him forward progress. So they give him forward progress to the 30. Brings up a 3rd down and 5. But a big tackle there by Viramontes.
Viramontes is just an interesting story. I mean, you look at how his football career has progressed at Riverside City College. Last year was absolutely dynamic as a quarterback. Now as a linebacker, he's starting to earn his reps and getting better with every week that passes.
3rd and 5 for Espinoza. And timeout taken by Golden West. John Shipp, the offensive coordinator, didn't like what he saw there. Play clock was nearly running down also. So time to talk things over. First timeout taken by the Rustlers in this first half. 7:30 to play in the second quarter. And you look at the offense for the Rustlers. Last season, kind of got off to a slow start. And you kind of attribute it to, you know, Kalbacher going down in the opener, and there was some indecisiveness there. But once it got to about league, maybe a game before league, the last few games of the season, you could last 5-6 games of the season, you could argue that there wasn't a quarterback playing better than Joe Pyle was last season, as he really was able to take the reins of this offense and do some special things. This season, it's been a very up and down year for the offense. 3rd and 5 from the 30. Espinoza with Swain in the backfield. Espinoza to pin. It hits him right in the kneecap, incomplete. Brings up 4th down. Ball thrown a little bit behind Sashi there. Tried to reel it in, unsuccessfully though, and enter Fisher to punt. Tyler Kennedy back to receive the punt for Riverside. Kennedy standing on his own 30-yard line. And a low snap, dribbles to Fisher, takes it off a hop. Tell you what, both these punters could be some pretty good middle infielders. Big time hit there on the special teams. Little friendly fire, but Kramer in the middle of it as well. But two Tigers suffer the worst of it. It was Kennedy, the returner, but also Jamon McGlory in there on special teams for Riverside. They kind of ran into each other.
And it looked like Kennedy knew that he was going to have to sacrifice himself on that one, because that ball was taking a terrific Golden West hop and had already bounced about 4 to 5 yards by the time he picked it up.
That's one he might have been better off just letting it go. Definitely sacrificed his body for the team, though. Can't deny that. 1st and 10, Tigers from their own 35-yard line. In the game right now at offensive line for Riverside.
7:17 to go.
It's big number 75, John Cron. More on him in a moment. There's a big run here by Walker to the secondary. Al Sherman able to grab him around the ankles before he gets to midfield.
Walker, first down, Riverside.
14-yard pickup. So Cron at one point at Riverside King High School was considered the largest football player in the world. He was listed as 7 foot, 440 pounds at the time, as Walker gets another first down right up the gut into Golden West territory. He's now listed as 6'10", 375. A lot of college recruiters said in order for him to take that next step, needs to work on the footwork, also needs to shed a ton of weight. He was 440 in high school, just a mammoth of a teenager. Now down to 375, but still big. Still sticks out among everybody down there on the field. You can see him towering over the rest of his offensive line compadres.
Walker with another carry.
As Walker picks up the first down there. There are a ton of articles written about him. Some various high school scouting websites, national newspapers as well. Ground game one more time. Wimbush not getting much. VJ Malo being as disruptive as ever gets in there and limits that to a gain of 1. 2nd down and 9 from the 40. I mean, 6'10" is 375 is nice size for a 4 or 5 in basketball, let alone an offensive lineman. You kidding me? Here's Wimbush, actually smart, going to keep it, tries to turn the corner, nothing doing. Kakulidis in there on the stop. Loss of 1 on the play, brings up 3rd down and 11. I don't know about you, Ryan Osborn. I'm not sure I want to line up across big number 75.
No, and that's one of the things where if you're this Rustler defense, I think that you try and, as you mentioned, he needs to work a little bit on his footwork. You can tell on the offensive line, he has the size, he has the power to push forward, but it's that footwork that you need to make yourself a special offensive lineman. If you're Golden West, I think that's something that you take advantage of. I think that's where you try and put speed on that inside corner and go against that big-time offensive lineman.
Yeah, they always say little guys are supposed to be fast, but that was never my calling. Timeout on the field taken by Riverside. Their first charge timeout of the half. They have 2 remaining. Well, at the moment, let's remind you that Golden West Rustler football right here on SportsNetUSA.net is brought to you in part by Miller Toyota of Anaheim. Check out all of their deals on used cars, new cars, also military rebates and discounts. Hit up the fine folks of Miller Toyota of Anaheim, located right there off the 91 and Euclid, also on the web at MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and education.
Well, most of all, when you're also...
What kind of Toyota do you think Big John could fit in, huh?
I think he's a Tundra guy.
More of a Tundra guy?
Tundra
yeah,
guy.
I was thinking Tundra, maybe Tacoma.
Maybe Forerunner.
Yeah. I'm going to go with you. I'll go Tacoma. I'll go Tacoma. 3rd and 11. I'm sure you had a much more important point to get off there, Ryan. You get back to it. Smart over the middle pass caught. That's Wimbush. And Wimbush with space. 2nd level tackle from behind by Hanley. Late flag comes in at the end of the play. But a first down and a whole lot more for Riverside.
Well, prior to that last snap, not only did they have Cron on the field, but they also had Augustin Bajorquez. And Bajorquez is deaf. And he plays on that offensive line, sometimes on the O-line, sometimes as a fullback, and he has his own personal translator on the sideline.
So first down will stand, but the penalty is going to be against Riverside. So spot a foul play, so they'll mark them back to about the 30-yard line. Remember Derek Coleman, the fine former Troy High School tailback, went on to UCLA, of course, and I believe he actually won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks. He was actually deaf as Wimbush tries to get around the edge and pushed out of bounds there by Aldapa after a gain of 3. Of course, Jake Olson, the blind long snapper for USC, played nearby at Orange Lutheran High School. Just a terrific story on how they get him from the sideline to over the ball to make a snap. It's incredible. With that, that's just the spirit of team and teamwork and why sports are so great, so important. Here's Smart, throws it low. Is that a catch? They say catch made. Catch made over here on the sideline. Wow. Looks to be some miscommunication. The head linesman called it a catch. On the near side, it's going to stand. It is going to be a catch. Catch hauled in there by Marshall. He had to go down and pull that one in. 3rd and 2 coming up here for Riverside. They lead 10-0, 3.5 approaching here in this first half. Marshall in the slot, bottom of your screen. Smart, pressure right in his face, gets rid of it to Wimbush, up the sideline, and Wimbush just shy of the goal line. You see him tiptoe the sideline here on the replay. So 1st and goal for the Tigers from the 10. Wimbush, the lone back, gets the carry. Off the left side, Wimbush runs into Kramer, and Kramer unrelenting. Ball out! Ball out! Rustlers think they have it. Rustlers say they have it. A flag comes in. They say Rustler football. Late flag came in at the end of that play, however. So let's see. So Preston Clipper and company going to sort this thing out. So the Rustlers recover, but it's going to be an unsportsmanlike against Paka Kakulidis. So the ball will be spotted inside the 5. 1st and 10 Rustlers from their own 4-yard line. Bo Kalbacher back in there. Just one series of work there for Nate Espinoza.
And that's the 3rd time that Golden West has kept Riverside out of the end zone when they cross the 20-yard line.
I mean, we saw it against Bakerfield, right? Not giving up any touchdowns. I mean, this defense has been fantastic all year long as the run goes nowhere there for the Rustlers. It was Roper there on the carry. Second down and 10 after that carry of no gain. Under 2.5 to play in this second quarter. 10-0, Riverside leads this one. Kalbacher in his own end zone. Has Roper back there with him. 4 wide receiver set. Kalbacher comes to this near side, and the pass is caught over here by Jonathan Earl. Under 2 to play. So Earl stays in bounds at about the 10-yard line, so a 3rd and 5. Under 150 to play. Rustlers will get the ball back to start the second half, in case you're wondering. Would be nice to get a first down here, however. Kalbacher looking on a slant, has his man, and looks like a generous spot there for the Rustlers. Ratzliff with the catch there, up to the 15-yard line. A first down, Golden West. Might have been a generous spot there, huh, Ryan?
Yeah, it looked like he may have been down right around the, we'll say, 13-yard line or so, and they give him the 15.
Kalbacher, tempo increases here. They go to Atencio, ball hit him right in the hands, incomplete. Second and 10, 1:04 to play. Ball at the 15-yard line of the Rustlers. Roper hit immediately. Big time tackle for loss there for Riverside. That's Daryl French, the backup defensive lineman, making the stop there. 3rd and long, as we're under a minute to play. It appears this entire drive, the Rustlers have been more content with just allowing time to expire as opposed to actually trying to put together some chunk yards for a drive. 5 on the play clock, 21 left on the game clock. And timeout going to be taken here with 1 second left on the play clock, 18 left on the game clock. So 18 seconds left here.
And I think
Rustlers basically conceding this first half.
I think one of the biggest things in that decision is the fact that the Rustlers will get the football coming out of halftime. So since they also kept Riverside out of the end zone, they have the confidence of knowing, hey, they can get the football right back with better field position.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. And that appeared to be the look of things from the moment Kalbacher and company came onto the field. Coming up at the half, we'll have the Ryan Osborn show, as he will take you through all the goings-on here throughout the SCFA. And also, we have a poll here at SportsNetUSA.net. California Community College football poll gets unveiled every week right here during halftime. Ryan Osborn and Ed Ford will take you through that coming up here at the half. 18 seconds left here in this first half. Riverside 10, Golden West nothing. 3rd down and 12 for the Rustlers from the 13. Any chances they chuck it deep here, Ryan?
I don't think.
Slim to none? All right. Tend to agree with you. Kalbacher out of the gun, hands it off to Roper. Roper a spin, Roper another spin. Roper taken down in the backfield. And 11 seconds left. The clock stopped there. Did Riverside take a timeout? Riverside took a timeout. All right, so Riverside took a timeout. They're second charge timeout. They have 1 left in this half. As you figure, Tom Kraft wasn't going to go away quietly here in this first half. So 2 important things here. Good snap. Good protection on this punt. Well, I guess 3 things, right? You got to have the coverage too. 4th downs. You got to have a good kick.
You got to make sure it gets off.
Right? All right. No one told me there would be math, so.
I guess you could add a 5 and make sure that it doesn't get returned.
Yeah. That's why I stick with bullet points. Bullet points. You don't have to deal with those numbers. Fisher standing in his own end zone. And let's see, is that Walker back there? Looks like that's Walker back there. He got banged up that last punt return, but he was in there on the last offensive drive, so appears to be A-okay. And Fisher gets the kick away. Walker tells everybody to get away. And Rustlers, why touch it? Oh, the clock ran out. Looked like there may have been some more time left on the clock. Let's see.
There was 0.4 seconds on the clock when the whistle was blown. They're going to place the ball at the 40.
Yeah. Well, Aldapa touched it near midfield. It's very interesting here. So Tigers have a chance for one player. They put 2 seconds left on the clock. And they actually just run it with Walker. So Walker tiptoeing, staying on his feet inside the 30, but taken down. So that's how we'll take this one into the locker room at halftime, with Riverside leading 10-0. Interesting turn of events here, that last little sequence, but nonetheless, it's a 10-point lead for Riverside. So we'll step aside. Halftime here from Rustler Field. Coming up on the other side of the break, the Ryan Osborn Show. Take you through all the goings on in SCFA football. And also unveil our newest SportsNetUSA.net California Community College football poll. All of that and more right here next on SportsNetUSA.net, your home for Golden West Rustler football. You and Ed Ford, you guys really get into it. It's pretty cool. It's quite the sight to behold from up here in the press box. Rustlers, if you're with us in the first half, you know that they kicked it off, so they'll be receiving here to start this second half. Darius Maxwell back there to receive this one, and watch as it go carry out of the back of the end zone. So the Rustlers will have it 1st and 10 to start this second half from their own 25-yard line.
Rustlers will start the second half on their 25 first down.
First half stats, 15 first downs for Riverside, 5 for the Rustlers. Riverside 5 of 9, 56% on 3rd down. Rustlers just 2 of 5 on 3rd down, 40% total yards, 241 to 111 in favor of the Tigers. Here's Bo Kalbacher back out there to work. More than those first half stats in just a moment. The first play is a run to Swain, who's swallowed up in the backfield. Riverside, we talked about the number of plays. We said they ran about 80 last week against Grossmont, where they ran 44 in that first half. Just 22 plays for the Rustlers in that first half. Average yards per play about even, 5.5 for Riverside, 5 for the Rustlers. But the time of possession, 18:26 to 11:34 in favor of Riverside. And if you're the Rustlers, you hope to skew that and turn that upside down here in this second half. 2nd down and 12 from the 23. Kalbacher on the roll, finds Earl, who turns it upfield at the 30-yard line. A pickup of 8. Actually, they mark him out at the 31-yard line. So to bring up a 3rd down and 4, Ryan Osborn.
And we have the voice of Fullerton College football chiming in, Mark Pavlovich, asking Rahshaun and I if this Golden West Rustler offense can keep going back to Kalbacher. Whether you think it can be sustained, Kalbacher throwing 40 times a game.
I think that's the way to go. if you're Nick Mitchell and John Shipp and the Rustlers. I think Bo Kalbacher is very capable, and I think Kalbacher's the man. As he's sacked here on this 3rd down play, brings him a 4th down. I mean, if you're this team, you know at this point in the season, you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, right? And obviously a huge strength of this team is its defense. And normally it's defense and running the ball, right? But it's not for this Rustler team. It's defense, and it's the arm of Bo Kalbacher. So I think that's a huge strength, and I think it's just, if Bo is Bo, this team, as it showed against Fullerton earlier this year, and they're hanging in here right now against Riverside, seem capable of beating just about anybody. If Bo is Bo. But there's a lot riding on that arm of number 14. Fisher, another low snap. He takes it and gets it away. And running away from it is Kennedy, smartly. And that's how you run away from a punt, Ryan Osborn. You just don't like backpedal a little bit and tell guys to get out of the way. Like, you run away, right? You leave no doubt, right?
He was at the sideline before it stopped rolling.
That's what I'm talking about. So Fullerton, the number 1 team in the Sportsnet National Division California Community College Football Poll. Interesting, some coaches decided not to vote for Fullerton anymore. So they've actually dropped in the state rankings. But there have not been any levies or sanctions or anything, no losses or anything for this Fullerton team, as Smart gets away from Iava, but Paca comes up to clean it up along with Aldapa. Before we go anywhere, got to shout out the Aldapas. Ran into them at the tailgate. That's where I got the great chips and guac before coming up here with you, Ryan Osborn. But they always lay it out. It's a great spread. I'm always mad that I can't eat more, but I'm just weird like that. Like before games, I don't like to eat too much. 2nd down and 7. Smart over the middle, off the hands, and nearly. Aldapa almost got there. It was right off the hands of Kennedy, but it falls incomplete, brings up a 3rd down. But next week's the home finale, so plan to be back out there with the Aldapas again next week. Maybe I'll indulge a little more. Maybe we'll see. But Wolf Retzloff's mom was out there. Got a chance to meet her. Had a chance to meet Mr. Kalbacher. Talk to him for a little bit. Good times. Smart. And that one deflected to himself and caught there by the tailback Walker, but he's shy of the 1st down marker. Down at the 30, brings up a 4th down. So huge shout out to the Aldapas and company for the gracious spread at the tailgate. There are few things I love more than a great tailgate. Of course, tailgates are always better when you're not working, but when you're working, they're just as good. I've learned that.
Is one of those things that you're talking about, is that a good guac?
That is good guac. There are few things I like on this earth more than good guac, and I don't know who made it. I gotta ask. I gotta ask who made it, and I gotta ask for the recipe. Atencio gonna watch this one bounce in front of him. Gonna be downed at the 30, but it was an excellent guac. Yeah, ask my man Dave, voice of the Rustlers up here, the PA announcer. He had some of the guac. It was fantastic guac. I don't play when it comes to my guac now, right now. Absolutely. Dave said he likes it. It was excellent. I will not embellish good guac.
Well, I don't think embellish it. It's something like watching the offense go down the field. It's either there or it's not.
There or it's not, right? You can't fake it, right? It's my man, Ryan Osborn. You explain that so well. That's why we keep you around. There's Dante Swain on the carry. Nowhere to go. Flag comes in. Kalbacher was asking for it, and he got it. Not sure what the flag is going to be, however, but it comes in late as Bo was like, yo, we need a flag here. And Mr. Clipper obliges. Personal foul. Horse collar. That's what it is. So Rustlers have been helped with a couple 15-yarders. You gotta make these Tigers pay, however, for those large amounts of penalty yardage that they've given up from time to time. I'll tell you what, this is a short-handed Rustler team. Nick Mitchell and company not going to make any excuses. They're going to go out and they're going to battle each and every week, as they are here. 10-0 the score here. Riverside with the lead. Tigers, the #3 team in the state. Rustlers ranked number 22 in the state. Coming off a big win, going to 1-0 in conference last week against OCC. Here's Atencio, and he just lost his balance. Slid head first into midfield. If he could have stayed on his feet, Ryan Osborn, I don't know. Definitely at least a first down, I'm thinking.
Well, he had some open space in between Swint and Neal on that far side of the field, and all he needed to do was just make sure that he kept his base underneath him, and he had a lot more room to run.
Instead, it's a pickup of 4, 2nd down and 6 from the Rustler 48-yard line. Wind starts to pick up here a little bit from Rustler Field. Beautiful Surf City, USA. Kalbacher on 2nd and 6. Pressure right up the middle. Kalbacher looking up the boundary there. Him and Ratzliff, little miscommunication there. Kalbacher looking up the boundary. Ratzliff looked like he was trying to cut that in more towards the middle of the field. Brings up 3rd down.
It was a beautiful job on that far side by Eric Wilson, who's covering Ratzliff. He knocked him off his route, and that's what took him so long to try and get to where that sideline pass was going, because he just didn't have a clear path to get over to his route.
I'm not sure what they can get, but seems like a offense that just needs a jolt, a burst of some sort. Where they get it from. Here's 3rd and 6. Kalbacher hit as he throws. That ball is out, and they say incomplete. His arm was going forward. Don't think there was any debate there about that. Just didn't hear a whistle. So that brings up 4th down. Once again, you're asking your defense to do a lot. Should have a long field to defend here, but still, just more time that they have to be on the field. There's a positive to take from that drive. Rustlers ate up about 5 minutes. So that closes the gap in terms of time of possession slightly, but Riverside still with the edge. .952 left in this 3rd quarter. So Riverside will be back out for its 2nd drive of this 2nd half. Stone Smart was brilliant in that 1st half. 12 of 16, 143 yards and a touchdown. Malik Walker, 10 carries, 56 yards. Wimbush actually led them in receptions, 4 for 51. The lone touchdown belonged to Jamal Houston. He caught that on his lone grab of the half for 33 yards. Smart with all kind of time, looking over the middle, and has his man Kennedy right at the sticks, and a 1st down for Riverside.
1st down, Riverside.
First and 10 for Smart and company from their own 34-yard line. Empty set now. Smart trying to run, and he finds just a little bit of a crease to get through. Gets the 1st down and a little bit more, as Ryan Raines is there to meet him right at the 45-yard line, but 11-yard pickup there and a 1st down. Looked like all the gaps were covered there by that defensive line of the Rustlers, but Smart found just a little bit of a crease there and took it for 11. Empty set once again. Riverside back on the ball. Comes near side, pass caught, and that's Fisher, the backup tailback, who they split out wide that time, and he picks up 5 there. Make it 4, brings up 2nd down and 6. Ball right at midfield. 1 back this time. And they hand it off. Here's Fisher. Fisher with a speed burst, tries to turn the corner. Crawford there to stop him, but not before he's able to pick up a 1st down. 7-yard pickup. And ball into Rustler territory. Approaching 8.5 left in this third quarter. Rahshaun, Haylock, Ryan Osborn, Ed Ford here with you from Rustler Field. 8:25 to play. Third quarter. Run game again. Dumar Fisher. Someone unheralded. You talk about Walker, you talk about Wimbush, but Fisher's a guy who gets his fair share of carries as well for this team. Had 8 rushes for 66 yards last week against Grossmont in the win. Picked up 6 there, 2nd down and 4. This time they go back to Walker. Walker dancing, Walker second level, Walker pushing the pile. And you hear some of the cheers from the Riverside contingent here. First down and 10 from the 27 for Riverside. Wimbush the back, Wimbush gets it. And Paka Kakulidis with the TFL. He's really played well these last couple of weeks. He's a guy from the very beginning of the season, a guy this coaching staff really liked a lot. Just a matter of him just getting ingrained with the system, picking up things a little bit better, but these last couple of weeks he's been really, really good coming off the bye. Got the start last week against OCC, started again here this afternoon. 2nd and 12, Smart back to pass over the middle, has his man Kennedy, stutter stepping, Kennedy turning the corner, turns it upfield, another stutter step. A first down inside the 15-yard line. 15-yard pickup on the play. And he is down there on that far sideline. So we'll have a stoppage in play. The Rustler training staff was the first to get to him as Riverside's group had to go clear across the field to get over there. But they'll take a look at the freshman wide receiver from Rancho Verde. His high school doing some great things, back under the leadership of Pete Duffy, who left for a couple years to go to Marietta Valley to become their offensive coordinator. Jeff Steinberg led Rancho Verde to a CIF title last year. He left following the season, and Duffy is back there and has that team as one of the teams to watch in Division II this season, as Kennedy able to run off the field under his own power. 1st and 10 from the 14-yard line. And Big John Cron in there on the offensive line. 6'10", 375-pound sophomore out of Riverside King. Lines up at left tackle. Wimbush on the carry. DJ Malo on the stop. Two-yard pickup.
It just seems like this game is kind of going into a methodical pace. Riverside isn't going with that high-tempo offense anymore. They're slowing things down and getting plays off a lot slower than they did in that first half.
Wimbush gets the carry again, tries to go up the middle, but Rustler D-line stands tall. Paka came in there from the backside. A nice job defensively by the Rustlers. Looked like Wolf Retzliff was the first one to get in there.
Bring up 3rd down and 5.
It's been a sight we've seen all game. Hands on the hips of Rustler defenders. On the field for 44 plays in that first half. And counting here in this second half. 3rd and 5, Smart Flushed out of the pocket, Smart going to tuck it and run, dives towards the end zone, and it's a touchdown. Stone Smart, and Riverside goes up 16-0. They try to contain Smart. You see her on the replay, but that one pump fake created just enough space as he dove in there for the touchdown. Smart play there, no pun intended, by the bounce back from NAU.
And that's something that we were talking about on that first drive by Riverside, the fact that he has the ability to not only look off defenders, but at a high speed while moving upfield.
That's one thing he has not done a lot of today, use his legs, as the kick by Garibay is up and through. The first team All-Central League kicker from a season ago nets that one, and it makes it 17-0 Riverside. As we remind you, Golden West Rustler football right here on SportsNetUSA.net is brought to you in part by Miller Toyota of Anaheim, where service and parts is open 7 days a week for your convenience. Located at the 91 and Euclid. On the web at MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and education. Now a 3-possession lead here for Riverside. As long as Nick Mitchell's been here, as long as Tom Kraft, rather I should say, has been in Riverside, Coos Ford going to take this one out of the end zone. Gets it up close to the 25-yard line. Mitchell's actually been at Golden West longer than Tom Kraft has been at Riverside. So I should say as long as Kraft has been at Riverside, this Rustler team has played Riverside pretty tough as some late flags come in there at the end of that play. A little extracurricular activity, guys. Kind of bumping into each other, exchanging phone numbers and whatnot.
Recipes.
Guac ideas.
There you go.
I guess nowadays guys wouldn't exchange phone numbers, more like Twitter or IG handles, right? No one. So Zach Arceyut on the special teams for Riverside gets the personal foul. Second consecutive drive, these Rustlers have been aided by a 15-yarder against Riverside. Nate Espinoza back in there at quarterback. First and 10 Rustlers from their own 38-yard line. Chance Lewis in there at a tailback. Espinoza over the middle to Maxwell, and he can't handle it. Espinoza hit late, and the flag is going to come in. It's going to be a flag on the play. This one going to be another one against Riverside. So Quentin Asbury got to Espinoza late. So the Rustlers have picked up 30 yards on this drive and find themselves inside Riverside territory without technically running an official play. First and 10 from the Riverside 47. See what Nate can do with his legs. You got Lewis in the backfield along with Swain, who goes in motion. They give it to Lewis, and Lewis runs right into the open arms of Daryl French. Haven't seen much of Chance Lewis since that West LA game. He came on late and ran hard. 6 carries, 38 yards in that one. Thought maybe that may be an indicator of him getting more carries. Here's Espinoza running for his life. Got to throw it away. Finally, no, he doesn't. Nice play by Earl there to play defensive back and to take the ball away from the Riverside DB, Aaron Mannery. But that's when Espinoza has to throw away, like out of bounds.
It was in the hands of Mannery. He hauled it in, he grabbed it, but Earl comes back behind the play and smacks it out of his hands.
Heads up play there by Jonathan Earl. He's gotten some flack this season for drops and whatnot. Came back, had a pretty good game last week against OCC, but a huge heads up play there by Earl. 3rd and 10 now from the RCC 47. All the yards on this drive have been as a result of Riverside penalties, and it's going to be delay a game. Oh, check that false start against the Rustlers. Play clock was heading towards 0.
Against the Rustlers. Gonna bring it back 5 yards. Repeat down.
And you know what? That just may be attributed just a shade to that freshman quarterback style of thinking for Espinoza. The more experience he gets in game situations, the more he'll kind of learn to dump that one out of play.
3:57 left here in the 3rd. Lewis stays in to protect. Espinoza escapes the pocket, picks up a block, stops, throws it over the middle late, and nearly picked off. Or was it picked off? Viramontes has it. Looked like he caught it off the, no, he didn't catch it off the deflection?
No, it ended up hitting the dirt, and then afterwards it popped
Because it went
up back
right
to him.
to 10. Wow. Nonetheless, 4th down, enter the kicking unit for Golden West. Going back to receive this punt is Jamon McGlory for the first time today for RCC. Fisher in to handle the punting duties. He split a lot of the duties last week with Anthony Trevino, but has been the punter here today for Nick Mitchell and the Rustlers. End over end kick. McGlory tells everyone get away from it. And takes a beautiful Rustler roll inside the 5. Nice kick there by Fisher. 3:34 left here in this 3rd quarter.
He has done a terrific job of punting here this afternoon. He has a different style of punt. He ends up going to the side of his body and then kicking it away. It almost looks like a goalkeeper in soccer who's trying to get it out to one of his wings. He drops it and then side kicks it out, and it's allowed for that football to keep rolling.
While we have a moment, I want to say hello to Mrs. Mitch. Always tuning in and watching from up north. I believe she was supposed to come down. She was supposed to come down last week for the Bell game. She may have missed her. But thanks so much for your continued support of us here on SportsNetUSA.net as Walker takes the carry up the middle. Special shout out to our colleagues Mark Palovich, Corey Nalen, enjoying a bye this week. Guess they were the lone SCFA team that didn't get the bye on October 6th, the first Saturday in October. Another run play here and a nice move there by Walker to get the extra yards. Stopped and found a crease, picks up a 1st down.
Fullerton was the only SCFA National Division team to not have a bye during the bye week, so they end up getting their bye 2 weeks later.
Very interesting. Third Saturday in October, which means so much to a lot of people down in Tennessee and Alabama. I'm sure those Tennessee people still feel that way now. Just saw the score. Ouch. Meanwhile, here's Walker again. Another 1st down. It's been a lot of run here in this 2nd half, and that's what this Riverside team does. I mean, you got a quarterback back there in Stone Smart who's very capable, but this is a run team. This isn't the air it out This isn't your grandfather's aired out Tom Craft football teams that you're used to seeing down at Palomar and at San Diego State. Another run. Extra yards. Walker across midfield.
Another first down carried by Walker.
14 yards this time. So big chunks at a time for Malik Walker as we approach 2 to play here. You got to be looking at a tired bunch off defensively here for the Rustlers. See a lot of hands on hips. This time Winbush, fresh back, picking up more yards.
It's just interesting to see these Riverside runners. They're just finding the smallest holes on the defensive line for Golden West and getting past them in past the linebackers as well.
I mean, you know, playing against this team, you gotta have a lot of gap integrity is what those coaches call it. You gotta stay home. Here's Smart looking downfield and incomplete. One-on-one coverage there by Coos Ford. The intended receiver there was Smith, but Ford right there with him, step for step, incomplete. Brings up a 3rd down. And you see 6 and 16 doing a little jawing as they walk back down the field. Smith walks off the field. Ford stays in there. And he can only hope there's not another 9 route called against him this time around. Meanwhile, they go back to the ground. Winbush short. It's going to be short of that 1st down. Coos Ford got in there on the stop. Looked like Paca was there too. But it's a 4th and about 1. And Tom Craft barking out things. He's calling for a special formation offensively, and what do you know? Last year's Offensive Player of the Year, Vic Viramontes, in there at quarterback.
He's only taken a snap 12 times this year.
Man, it's been a lot of runs. And there he goes again. There's some movement. There was some movement against the Tigers. False start. And they got Brandon Hendricks Jr. guilty of moving there, so won't get to see Viramontes with the ball in his hand. And Garibay will come on to punt for the Tigers. Another self-inflicted wound for Riverside as time is winding down here on this 3rd quarter. Under 20 seconds left as Garibay gets this one off. Atentio watches it bounce and takes a Tiger roll down to about the 13-yard line. 18 ticks left in this 3rd quarter. Almost now or never time for these Rustlers.
We have another 13.
Almost similar to what we saw at Canyons a couple weeks ago, right, Ryan Osborn? Team.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it and it almost just feels like Golden West just doesn't have any energy in this one. They're just here, they're showing up, they're trying to get downfield, but you look at Kalbacher and Espinoza, they just haven't been able to continually move the football. And because of that, it has led to a really slow start for this entire Golden West staff.
Kalbacher, speaking of which, back in there at quarterback. 1st and 10 from the 13. They pitch it to Roper to try to get him in space, but that space is occupied by Vic Viramontes and the Riverside defense, and that takes us to the end of the 3rd quarter. So after 3, RCC 17, Golden West nothing, as you're watching Golden West Rustler football right here on SportsNetUSA.net. Rahshaun Haylock alongside the multitasker himself, Ryan Osborn, and Ed Ford, making this motor run here on a Saturday afternoon from Surf City. Busy day out here in Huntington Beach. Got the air show going on just a stone's throw from where we are. Golden West football here right now. I'm sure sure you guys can see at home in the distance. Looks like a pretty important soccer game going on. They've been at it since we got here. So a lot of things to get into here in Surf City. But all the Rustlers are concerned about what's going on in between these white lines and trying to get on the board. Getting blanked here in the next to last home game of the regular season.
There are only 2 other games that have reported scores thus far. LA Southwest leading West LA 10-7 at halftime, and Chaffee up 38-17 over Santa Ana. Started the 3rd quarter.
Of course, we saw West LA earlier this year. It's a team that likes to run it. 2nd and 9 as they flip field. Kalbacher takes the snap from the 14, steps up in the pocket, over the middle, Sashi Penn, and just out of the reach of number 16. Trying to connect on a post there. The all-conference corner from a year ago, Eric Wilson there on the coverage.
That was a nice job by Wilson. He met Sashi Penn as soon as that ball was about to land in his hands.
Brings up 3rd and 9. Third and 9 from the 14. 4th quarter action here from Rustler Field. They throw it in the flat. Roper corralled. May have picked up a yard. 4th down coming. Jake Fisher needing another gym here. He's kicked a few of them so far today. And it looks like that is McGlory back to receive this one. Another low snap. Fisher catches it and booms this one. Sends McGlory backpedaling, tells everybody to get away from it. And this one going to take a beautiful Rustler roll inside the 20, inside the 15. Tremendous boot there by Fisher as it is downed at the 14-yard line of Riverside. Fantastic punt there.
That was a 70-yard punt.
It's pretty good.
Not something that you see often at the community college level.
I tell you what, Fisher's earned that post-game meal today. I mean, he is kicking that thing beautifully all afternoon. Here's Smart back to work, 1st and 10 from his own 14. Go to the ground. And that's one thing against a tired defense that's been on the field for a ton. You know you can continue to pound and pound and pound. And I was talking to a high-profile defensive end at the high school level earlier this week, and he was just saying just how running the ball is so taxing on a defensive line, especially late in the game. We've heard these stories for years, but interesting to hear his take on it. 2nd and 8 to 16. Here's Fisher, and Ratzlaff is able to take him down, and McCord and Jamal Houston involved in a little pushing and shoving at the end of that play. 3rd down and 1 coming up. After that 7-yard pickup. Smart hands it off. Fisher breaks the tackle in the backfield, but coming to clean him up, though, is Justin Parker, another TFL for number 9, and a 3-and-out forced by the Rustlers as there is a man down for Riverside. How about Justin Parker? This Justin Parker from the last couple of weeks playing almost kind of like a rover, you would call it. But definitely being active in the back. He's tackling. They say DBs can't tackle. Ryan Osborn. Well, not necessarily DBs, but corners. Justin Parker, a corner. He's tackling folks. He's been doing it the last couple of weeks and looking really, really good doing it.
That's Tyler Kennedy, who is down for the Riverside City College Tigers. And you talk about corners getting that reputation of not being able to tackle. They are also told that they can't catch, otherwise they'd be wide receivers. Well, a lot of corners don't work on that. They just work on trying to break up passes. You're looking at this Golden West defense and saying the defensive backs know how to tackle. They know how to take the ball away at the same time. At what point do you look at this defensive back group and say, you know what, other than the linebackers, this is our best group that has been rolling today?
I want to say, and I hope I'm not misquoting him, Deion Sanders. I want to say someone mentioned something about tackling to him. I want to say during his playing days, he said something along the lines of, I don't get paid to do that. Deion, infamous for not even huddling with the defense in between plays, but staying on his island and content that this side of the field, I'm going to shut down. And he did for the duration of his Hall of Fame career. Man, they call prime time. Scarabay in the punt. That one nearly blocked by the Rustlers. They've gotten some pressure off the edge a few times this afternoon. Unable to get to Garibay, however. But this should be good field position. Perhaps the best field position to start a drive for the Rustlers all afternoon. 1st and 10 from the 48-yard line. Their own 48 with 12:10 to play.
And we've already talked about the spots here this afternoon, but you look at this one. Abraham Rodriguez makes contact with that football for Riverside City at the 46-yard line and smacks the ball forward. Ball rose up a total of 7 yards, and now it's placed at the 48-yard line.
That's not legal, right?
Well, it's something that was called earlier, and we had a different spot where a defensive player or the coverage team tried to pick it up and roll it forward a little more, and they called it back.
Here's Callbacher on 1st and 10, up the seam, incomplete. Oh, he was looking up the seam, and he had a man, Dorsey, just couldn't haul that one in. There's been a few of those today. One too many if you ask Bo Callbacher, perhaps. Especially if you ask John Shipp. 2nd and 10 from the 48. Callbacher set up a screen. Atencio tries to get to the outside, but a nice tackle there by Viramontes. And interesting, Tom Kraft has coached for some 40 years. He said Viramontes is the best player he's ever coached. High praise for that young man. He's coached some talented players, has Kraft.
Well, you have to have a lot of talent to be able to seamlessly switch from one position to the other. And also be considered one of the best at your position in the state.
During his time at Palomar, he coached 7 All-American quarterbacks. Here's Callbacher, near side, Ratzliff catches it close to the sticks. Mark is going to decide whether this is a first down or not. Clock stops with 11:19. Going to be an official timeout here, and it's really, really close. May need a measurement. So they're going to bring the chains out. Another thing, interesting thing about Tom Kraft, does not wear a headset. Now that's boss level right there, right?
Well, that's something that you're starting to see a little bit more and more in Southern California. I mean, Garrett Campbell for the Fullerton College Hornets, the interim head coach over there, he doesn't wear headsets.
Well, Tim Burns didn't wear a headset, right?
He did not wear headsets as well.
It's interesting because a lot of times you reserve that for, as measurement, it's going to be a first down for the Rustlers. You reserve that for, not to take anything away from Bobby Bowden at all, but he was latter part of his career. He wasn't wearing a headset. You know, his assistants had a lot of influence on, you know, what was happening, and he would chime in on big plays. But Kraft fully in control of so many things going on there. There's no figurehead by any stretch of the imagination. And he, like many of the coaches around Southern California, a huge fan of Nick Mitchell. Always has great things to say about Coach Mitchell and how well prepared and well coached Mitchell's teams are. Kalbacher on first down, incomplete. Looking for Ratcliffe. That pressure was coming heavy.
And it nearly landed in the hands of Vic Viramontes as it was tipped twice.
Devin Charles, a talented returning linebacker from a year ago. And they're applying some of the pressure. 2nd and 10 Rustlers from the Riverside 42-yard line. Kalbacher with Roper in the backfield, 4 wide. They roll the pocket this time. Kalbacher throwing on the run, and he overshot Penn. .10:52 left. Big shout out to Adrian Montez, a left tackle, gutting this one out for the Rustlers this afternoon. Another low snap. They find Roper in the flat. Roper with some space up the sideline, but Charles grabs him around the waist and spins him out of bounds. Fourth down and 5.
Down by 2 scores. The Rustlers have no choice but to try and pick up this first down.
Fourth and 5 from the 37. Kalbacher gets rid of it. And too tall for Dorsey. Incomplete. Swint there on the coverage, and a turnover on downs for the Rustlers.
Right now, Rahshaun, you're just not seeing that sense of urgency from the Golden West sideline. As they're moving up the field, their progressions aren't moving as quickly, routes aren't being run as crisp. And it's hurt them over the last 2 drives.
Yeah, you sort of wonder what's going on from that standpoint. So 1st and 10 from the 37. Riverside takes over in its own zone. And back to the ground game they go. That defensive line for the Rustlers continuing to hang in there. Stephen Cruz on the stop. Paka Kakulidis also in there. Walker having a fine game this afternoon for Riverside. Tell you, they rotate those backs in there, and they're just relentless with their approach offensively. Smart, this time he keeps it himself, tries to turn the corner, and he's able to pick up about 5 up to the 43-yard line. 3rd and 5. Rustler defense once again in need of another big stop here. Try to get this offense back the ball. Free play here. And Smart throws it over the middle. Unable to connect with Marshall that time, but Kevin Miminger, the guilty culprit there, automatic first down. After that offsides on 3rd and 5. 5-yard penalty makes it a 1st down and 10 Riverside from their own 48-yard line. As we are nearing the 9-minute mark here in this 4th quarter. 17-0 Riverside with the lead. Tigers held a 10-0 lead at the half. Here in the flat is Marshall. Trying to compile some rack yards is the kid out of Narbonne. Picks up 9 that time.
He got flipped upside down at the end of that play.
Yeah, he did. 2nd and 1, Walker. 1st down.
Walker on the carry, 1st down, Riverside.
Perhaps the toughest 2-game stretch of the year for the Rustlers. We got Riverside here today. Next week you have Saddleback. Many people say Saddleback isn't Saddleback we're accustomed to seeing, but tell you what, they had a pretty big win last week. The score certainly looked like a Saddleback score. Meanwhile, Marshall going upstairs, up the seam, a nice catch at the 15-yard line, and a 1st down.
And if he catches that one in stride, he's gone.
You see Smart here delivering it on the replay, and falling backwards was Marshall there. Nice job by Ed Ford getting those replays ready here today. And Ryan Osborn, I told you he's multi-faceted, providing that visual with his camera work. As Walker takes it on the right side, and he picks up about 4.
Yeah, Rahshaun, you could say that the 3 of us were like the cornerback that can catch, tackle, anything.
Sounds good. Of course, I'm picking up the rear here, so you guys doing all the heavy lifting.
Free safety.
Not multi-dimensional free safety. Maybe a cover 4 free safety. I can cover maybe just a quadrant of the field. Here's Walker trying to find some space. Walker still on his feet. And Walker just shy of the goal line. Got a 1st down, however, so it'll be 1st and goal from the doorstep. And they get right back on the ball. Smart, Walker, spins, and is in. Touchdown, Riverside. Malik Walker, team leading 8th touchdown of the season. And now a very commanding lead here for Riverside.
And you've just seen Riverside's commitment this afternoon to just grind out this football. And it's not only slowed the game down a little bit, but it has really taken the crowd out of it. Neither the Riverside nor Golden West supporters have really gotten too loud here this afternoon, and the players are just on both sidelines, just standing around, hands on hips, kind of watching this football game happen. And Riverside, while they're not really blowing out Golden West College, they have limited them on the offensive side of the football as well.
Rustler football right here on SportsNetUSA.net, brought to you in part by Miller Toyota of Anaheim, where service and parts is open 7 days a week for your convenience. Located at the 91 and Euclid, on the web at MillerToyotaofAnaheim.com. Miller Toyota of Anaheim supports community college sports and education. 6:45 to play here in this ball game, and it's been all Riverside. You look up at the scoreboard, you see 24 points. Not sure that's very indicative of just the effort that this defense has put out here today. Contrary to the score, yeah, a couple mistakes here and there, but I think overall you got to give this defense a ton of credit for Golden West. It's the leading scoring team in the conference, Riverside, coming into here today averaging 46 points per game. Rustlers held them to just 10 in the first half. They were able to find the end zone twice here in the second half and now have a 24-0 advantage, which, in all honesty, could be a whole lot worse. Rustlers' defense dealt a couple of bad hands, coming off of turnovers, short fields to defend, and were able to keep this Riverside offense at bay at certain points in this game where it really could have got out of hand. Meanwhile, here's Nate Espinoza back into the game. 1st and 10 from the 25. Espinoza keeps it himself. Espinoza wrapped up and thrown down in the backfield. And that was big number 35, Jose Ramirez.
You talk about the Riverside offense. Not only are they leading the conference, they're also second in the state in overall offense and total yards as well.
Yeah, and Tom Kraft knows offense, right? I mean, if there's one thing he knows, it's certainly offense. You being a UCLA guy, you saw his son Kevin Kraft play. Many Bruin fans have as Espinoza goes back to pass here, has Swain, and Swain makes the catch at midfield. First down, Golden West. Riverside claiming they have possession of the ball too, but tie goes to the runner, right? If it's a catch, both claim possession of it. Tie goes to the receiver. So it's the tailback getting out in the seam, making a catch.
And the ruling there is that he had enough possession by the time he goes down to the floor that he is down by contact, and then the ball is taken out of his hands.
Ball is on the 47-yard line.
Well, if both guys come down with it with possession, it automatically goes to the offense. They mark him down at the 47-yard line of Riverside. Biggest play of the game for Espinoza at quarterback today, as he rolls this time, looking for some space to run, gets right back to the original line of scrimmage and sneaks just past it for a yard. 5:21 left as Espinoza got out of bounds there on that play. Going back to that Kevin Kraft note, many Bruin fans have kind of thoughts about him and his tenure there at UCLA, but he absolutely lit up California Community College football during his time at Mount Sac as a quarterback, playing for his dad, who at the time was the OC there at Mount Sac. Bruce Irving also on that team, the current Raider, playing linebacker. Here's Espinoza delivering it incomplete for Maxwell.
It looked like Maxwell didn't really pick up that football until it was already past him. He was looking towards Espinoza, couldn't find it, and then all of a sudden flinched because he realized that football was going right past his head.
3rd and 9. Rustlers have had a few explosive plays here in this one today, but then haven't been able to follow those up with more production. After each explosive play, they've kind of been halted wherever they were. This time at the 46-yard line of Riverside. 3rd and 9, 4:52 left. Espinoza sneaks through. Espinoza can use those legs. There he goes, reaching for the first down marker, and he gets it. Nice pickup there for the freshman out of CDM. About CDM last night. Absolutely demolishing Newport Harbor in that big rivalry game. Of course, former San Diego Mesa head coach is now down there at Harbor, taking over for the veteran Jeff Brinkley. Have a timeout on the field. How about San Clemente last night? 21-20 win over Mission Viejo, handing Chad Johnson his first loss on the field. First South Coast League loss for Mission Viejo since 2008. First time SC has beat Mission Viejo since 1999. Huge shout out to Jaime Ortiz and that coaching staff there at San Clemente. Talented quarterback Brendan Costello headed to Oklahoma State. Nice job by them last time. Nobody saw that coming. SC, who knew? South Coast League champs. I don't think anybody saw that one coming.
Well, and you're also thinking, okay, Mission Viejo, the lineage of quarterbacks that they have had as well, in addition to San Clemente. They had a Sam Darnold a couple years back, but they still wrote in that Mission Viejo game as a loss pretty much every year.
Yeah. Espinoza tries to escape. Espinoza, 10-on-10 crime. Vic Viramontes with the sack there.
Viramontes just shoots up that left-hand side on a delayed blitz, and once he was in the backfield, Espinoza had nowhere to run, no reaction time whatsoever.
Leading tackler on this team, averaging 5.5 tackles per game. Just a natural leader, right? So he leads on one side of the ball as the quarterback, comes back this year, leader of that defense at linebacker. Big sack here, makes it 2nd and 24 from midfield. Espinoza, pressure coming again. Atencio with the catch. Atencio with some space. Viramontes catches him from behind at the 30. 20-yard pickup there, and Rustlers get just about all of it and more right back. Brings up a 3rd down and 4. Approaching 3.5 to play. Rustlers desperately in need of their first scratch of the game. Down 24-0 here against the number 3 team in the state. Lewis still in there at a tailback. Espinoza says, get over here, get on my right hip. He obliges. Pressure right in the face of Espinoza. Delivers though to Jeremiah Wright. So Wright with the catch. Inside the 20. Not going to do much for the touchdown reception ratio. First catch of the year last year first catch of the year last week, pardon me, against OCC went for a touchdown. This one a first down, however. 1st and 10 from the 17. Looking for the fade. This one thrown short, and Wright had it and dropped it as he punches the back of the end zone.
Wright had to reach across the body of Eric Wilson there just to try and get to that football. Wilson lost his footing, fell to the floor, and Wright, reaching out, just had it go off his fingertips into the ground.
Yeah, that ball has to be thrown more towards the back pylon. Thrown a little bit too short. Wright gave it a valiant effort there. Speaking of an air show. Is that our friends from down the street, Ryan? 2nd and 10 from the 17. Espinoza looking that way again. Has Wright, has separation, has a touchdown. Touchdown, Rustlers. Jeremiah Wright, second touchdown of the year. They went right back, almost an identical play here. As you take a look at the replay, and Espinoza throws it towards that back pylon, and a nice over-the-shoulder catch there by Jeremiah Wright. Third catch of the year, second touchdown of the year for the freshman out of Vancouver, Washington. And the first scratch of the game for the Rustlers comes with 2:35 left in this fourth quarter. Jose Orredondo in to attempt the point after. The lefty misses. So 24-6 our score, 2:35 left. Espinoza reaches the end zone, and for the freshman out of CDM, that is his fourth touchdown pass of the season. So the Rustlers saved themselves from being shut out, but you can expect an onside kick here with 2:35 to play. So you see Sean Corcoran right there at about the 35-yard line, right next to the official, taking off his headset. Special teams coordinator for the Rustlers, barking out instructions to his team. Some last-minute instructions for Fisher. Saw Fisher practicing this during training camp. Had some varied success. Timeout going to be taken here by Riverside. Almost like the basketball timeout, right? Want to see what you're doing, how you're lining up. All right, we'll call a timeout. See if we can counter. 2:35 left.
This time it was Vic Viramontes who cost his team a timeout. He didn't realize that the hands team was on the field. He was out getting water, and so he had to be called over, the timeout called, and now he'll jog onto the field. This is just a situation for Golden West. I mean, with 2:35 left against the number 3 team in the country, if you don't end up getting this onside kick the rest of the way, you can expect at least a couple of runs from Riverside, and they can need out, and that's pretty much it. Especially with the Rustlers only having their 3 timeouts. Or I guess not only having their 3 timeouts, but having their 3 timeouts.
So Fisher lines him up. And not the onside, but instead the pooch kick, and the Rustlers going to try to rush down and cover it. Instead, it's going to be recovered by the Tigers.
Looked like Ryan Reitens was in there on the tackle as well. That was somewhat of a body slam there as they tried to pick him up and strip the ball at the same time.
So it's interesting. I saw a similar situation like this in the high school game last night, right? Trying to, whether you go for the onside kick or not, the kick was short, and the thought was, well, they didn't have anybody back, so you should have kicked it deep to run after it. It was a similar situation here. I think Riverside had maybe one guy back deep. So Golden West actually does kick it deep, but then unable to get down and retreat it. So 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other, right? Movement up front for the Tigers, it appears. False start against the offense. Run play for Riverside.
Now it's just a gain of 1 yard. Doesn't look like Coach Mitchell is going to try and take one of his timeouts here.
There's Eric Buchanan on the carry here. You start to wonder, where can this offense find some consistency? I mean, at this point in the season, the running game is what it is, right? So you try to make do with what you can in the passing game if you're the Rustlers. One would think. As they go to the ground one more time, Buchanan finding a crease and getting it up to the 29-yard line. But at some point, you have to be able to find some consistency. You have to be able to put some good drives together. And it's odd because this offense was shot out of a cannon week 1, but we have not seen that offense since.
And that's a great point there, Rahshaun, because, I mean, other than that Fullerton game, there hasn't been a point this season where we have said, okay, Golden West, we trust you to march down the field and at least have a lengthy drive. They haven't had that since game 1.
And the thought is, well, if you can do it against Fullerton, back-to-back reigning national champions, then you should be able to do it against just about anyone, as Buchanan gets another carry, this time a first down as we're under a minute to play. But that has not been the case. And you're going up against teams that one should figure you should be able to move the ball against. San Diego Mesa, yeah, they provided some challenges with some odd fronts and a lot of maneuvering up front, but you figure that's a game that kind of got away, one you perhaps should have had as Riverside lines up in the victory formation. Canyons is what it is. I mean, that's a downright dirty, talented defense. Hats off to them for what they've done. As Riverside takes the knee, that's going to take us to the end of the game. But, I mean, this is a Riverside defense. You look at the numbers, you look at what they've given up in the past, you feel like this is a team you should be able to have some success against, especially in the passing game. You've seen some explosive plays offensively in the passing game, but just not able to put together that consistency, those consistent drives, as this one has reached its end. 24-6, our final from Rustler Field. Rahshaun Haylock, Ryan Osborn here with you. And Ryan, Rustlers fall to 3-4, 1-1 in conference play. For me, it's the consistency. What's the offensively? What's the biggest thing for you going forward for this team?
Well, I think the biggest thing is it plays off of that consistency. It's the fact that whenever Golden West had a big play this afternoon, whether it be on offense, whether it be on defense, you remember that big-time pickup, that 68-yard passing play early in the first quarter. They just were never able to pick up on that and build on it. They didn't allow their momentum to push them forward, and it's really hurt Golden West over the last 3 weeks of play, but specifically here this afternoon, whenever Riverside made a mistake, and they didn't make too many this afternoon, but whenever they did, Golden West never made them pay for it. They never tried to go after that big play too often. In fact, they only had 6 different attempts in the passing area where they had an attempt of over 20 yards. And they never punished Riverside for making mistakes.
For the second straight week, Riverside holds its opponent to 208 yards of total offense. The Tigers, for their efforts, 460 yards of total offense. Rustlers outgained them in the passing game, 214 to 208. But in the rushing game, Rustlers -6 on the ground today. Ground game just could not get going at all whatsoever. So with the win, Riverside improves to 6-1, 2-0, and in first place here in the conference. Next week, they'll be at home to take on Southwestern, while the Rustlers fall to 3-4, 1-1 in conference play. And you got a tough Saddleback team coming in here next week at 1 p.m. in the home finale. Of course, we'll have that game for you right here on SportsNetUSA.net. Special thanks to Nick Mitchell, Tom Kraft for their time. Ed Ford, who is our operations manager, for getting this whole thing going Ryan Osborn for multitasking here today, and a special thanks to you as well at home for watching. Wes McCurtis helping us out with stats up here in the booth. So for all of us here at sportsnetusa.net, we say so long from Huntington Beach, where the Rustlers fall to Riverside 24-6. Make sure you check out the Rustlers next week right here at 1 p.m. on sportsnetusa.net as they'll take on Saddleback, the Gauchos, in the home finale. 1 p.m. kickoff right here on your home for Rustlers football, sportsnetusa.net. You have been watching Golden West football right here on your home of the Rustlers, sportsnetusa.net.